So the main solution that was highlighted in the comments, yang banyak sekali kan, is parents. Literally people just put parents, and it's basically just like parents are wrong. What were his parents doing? We get into a little bit more subtle. So this one actually came from a teacher. So she said that basically I can't handle your kid the way you can. So I thought that was an interesting thing to put in there. As you know, in Mont, Kiara, Bangsar, that kind of area, you see quite a lot of permissive parenting.
I do want to linger on this point a bit, like parents. It's easy to say parents, kita boleh blame parents as sumber utama kenapa kanak-kanak tiba-tiba jadi tak guna. Tapi how do we make that conversation slightly more nuanced? To what extent is the problem, if that is the problem at all, and if the problem is parents, to what extent can there be interventions to help parents?
I think people need to realise that nothing is tiba-tiba.
Yes.
It seems like it's tiba-tiba, but it never is tiba-tiba.
Kerana orang sial media lah.
That's why it's quick to blame the parents, because parents paling dekat right dengan kids, and people will assume parents lah selalu yang ada dengan kid, but there's many different factors.
Yeah, and let's contextualize this conversation a little bit. Let's not talk about whether the solution is social media or rotan or whatever, but let's talk about the responsibility of parents within bringing up their child.
That's very important distinction to make. I think I come into it with the lens of a Muslim parent and someone who has worked in intersectional feminism for a while. So is it fair to pin the entire responsibility on parents? No, because everybody has a different parenting experience. There are two-parent families, there are single-parent families, there are parents who are co-parenting, parents in long-distance relationships, where the dad is probably working in Singapore or the mom is working somewhere else. So to collectively lump all parents together and say that we all have the same sort of access to resources and education and all of that is unfair. So I think beyond looking at parents, right, as a collective group, we must also look at what the other factors around these parents are. So macam in public health, for example, we talk about the socio-ecological model, and what that means is that you look at the individual level factors and the community level factors, right? So even I think between Felicia and I, we can talk about how the parents we know of the students that we teach all have different lives. I had students who never saw their parents because they lived with their grandparents. They worked from 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. every day to pay rent for themselves and their grandparents. Their parents were separated. We have parents who work shifts, like 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Most of their online presence is malam-malam. When would these parents have time to monitor? And then of course you have the Bangsar parents or the Mont Kiara parents, and then it could very well be that they are simply too busy to actually be a present parent because they have a lifestyle to maintain, for example, or a job that they actually have weird hours. So the question is not whether parents are to be blamed, it's what other conditions can enable parents to actually be present with their children and to build that sort of connection with their children before they can correct the behaviour of the children. So macam Felicia said tadi, it doesn't happen tiba-tiba, right? There are all these warning signs almost that you almost have to know what to look out for before something happens.
So there were suggestions that mungkin elok kalau budak-budak buat benda illegal or whatever, parents kena the punishment too. And I assume you guys think that's a terrible idea.
I think when something happened, right, we always want something to blame. But the problem is when we look at each one of these cases, even the two biggest one right now, right, the case dengan yang case tiga, both are very different situation. Both have very different root causes. We are just seeing the tip of the iceberg. We're not looking what's beneath it.
Kita ni suka jawapan yang pendek dan mudah nak faham lah kan.
Betul. Mudah faham dan mudah dibuat. Semua orang buat yang sama. Tapi manusia semua lain.
Terima kasih kerana menonton Siapa Makan Cili.
Dan kalau korang ada siapa yang korang nak kita jemput ke show kita, sila tinggalkan di ruang komen di bawah.
Dan jangan lupa subscribe.